Hi there, and welcome back to the Rangers News YouTube channel with Jordan and Cammy.
How you doing?
So following on from sort of a chat of despair about performance levels, we're going to talk about, more specifically, about mentality. So there's been a lot of stuff, obviously, the results tell you that there's been a major drop-off and something's changed and stuff since Christmas and since the turn of the year, but we've also had sort of a drip feed of concerning comments coming out of the club. So you've Ryan Kent and Braga talking about how this Rangers team is more suited to being underdogs. And then you've the skipper, Tavernier, talking in the matchday programme ahead of the Hamilton game about basically, how they're struggling. He and his teammates are struggling to deal with the pressure, essentially, and to put away other sides, but they're trying to rectify these problems.
When they get in their faces, I think is what Tavernier said.
Yes, when they turn up and ramp the pressure up on us, we're struggling to find the answers. So just sort of along those lines, which has jarred with a lot of supporters, I think it's not Rangers mentality, is it?
No, not at all. It's unacceptable. You know what I mean? To be going into matches with that mindset and almost it's a defeatist attitude to have. I think it's something that we all knew what they're saying. I think these are things that you can clearly see by following the team and by watching our performances. We knew that, but you don't want the players coming out and saying it. You want them to be proving people wrong, and for me, that's just an acceptance of what's going on and the results and the performances, rather than endeavouring to change it. And I think Rangers fans are fair enough to be incredibly frustrated with comments like that. Kent's a young player in that he's been at Rangers now for 2 seasons. He clearly loves it here. He's clearly got an affinity with the club. The fans have an affinity with him. Things are going right. It's great. He's a good player, and I think that he'll get better. But that mindset of being an underdog doesn't fit with Rangers. There's never going to be a scenario, save for Celtic over the last few years. But I don't think that it's like that now. I think Rangers can go toe-to-toe with Celtic in a one-off match. But save for that, we're ever going to be underdogs. So you have to impose your game. You have to go out. You have to get fighting. You can't let these wee guys chirp in your ear and pressure you and force you into mistakes and say no, it's okay because collectively as a team we're not there yet. I think that it's unfair on the supporters that are paying money every week for a team that they absolutely adore, with a support that will follow them anywhere. You know what I mean? To then down tools and put in that level of application, I think it is a disgrace. I think they seriously need to consider if that is their attitude, if Rangers is the right place for them.
I think, when you're saying there about Kent, and I think it is clear, the frustration, his personal frustration, that maybe a lack of contributions and stuff, which is turning a little bit in recent times, and that he does have an affinity with the club, but maybe that it's not fully established, because he's got to understand that people aren't going to accept that if you say that in an interview. Obviously the guys, on a high after beating Braga, and people are asking him questions, trying to get answers out of him, but to say, we relish this, we're better being underdogs, like, he's got to know that people aren't going to accept that. And I think with Tavernier, like, the comments, I just don't understand, first of all, the need for them. I understand you need to fill a programme and all that sort of stuff, but the pressure these guys and stuff are under at the minute, can the club not help themselves and say, look, James, you don't need to write anything this week. You just keep getting pumped in the league, and you're turning out to play Hamilton. You don't need to make any excuses.
Talking about how you're not going to be able to handle it if they put you under pressure.
No one's going to notice if you don't put the stuff in the programme, or he doesn't have his column that week. And who edited that and let it go out? It's just madness.
These things give an insight into the collapse of Rangers in the second half of the season. I don't think this team's full of bad players, but when you're talking about the negative stuff that comes out, the kind of Celtic-minded press, and like the pressure and the fans swell behind bad results when things don't go right, etc. That is part and parcel of playing for the football club. So when you have comments like that, it just feels as if it's an excuse. And if these players want mollycoddled, or they want, like, oh no, give us a break and all that. We're doing this. It's not going. It's never, ever, ever going to work like that.
Yeah.
And they need to get that out their head straight away. There is no time to sit there and think, oh, woe misery me, big bad Hamilton came out the traps at us and we don't deal with it. It's just mental. I mean, they're getting paid a fortune. Go back to the fans again. For years and years, for your entire life and for years to come, you're going to keep following this team. When they're underperforming, sometimes it can make you feel like a bit of a mug, but you're going to keep on doing it, and we deserve better. And I think as well, right, see when you talk about them notes, I think they give like an insight, and I think that is a problem with the team, the mentality. It clearly is. They've shown at times that they can bounce back and have big performances. I don't think there's an issue with ability. In fact, I actually think this is a very good Rangers team for the money that was spent. I know that we've spent a bit, but it's a good team on their day, and I do believe in them that way. But with the mentality thing, I don't know how you change it, because you can't have an overhaul. And I think a lot of it comes down to Steven Gerrard. I think that throughout this year, when things have went wrong, his attitude in press conferences, etc., have changed. I can remember going back and post-match, he'd be talking about protecting his players. Now he never wants to put his players down. And suddenly he developed this kind of vicious streak where he and I mean vicious for lack of a better term, but where he would like go for players that made mistakes, and then he'd threaten to drop them out of the team, but never play any of the squad players. So there's no suggestion that certain players can get dropped. And he also, which I thought was utterly criminal, was when the slide began to happen, he all but surrendered the league title to Celtic. I know that he quotes where he says he'll never surrender the title to Celtic, etc. But in his post-match, he was always talking about how difficult it was going to be, and he looked despondent. And if you're going to question mentality of the players, I think you have to question the mentality of the manager as well, because there is no world anywhere, right, or no period in Rangers history or anything, where the way that he handled this collapse in the press, was done well. I think that he didn't do it well. I think that maybe that went into the players' heads as well. I don't know. But I see that Hamilton game, if we'd won that game, right, knowing that Celtic had dropped points, obviously you can't know that, and Celtic had dropped points, it would have taken it back to, 10 points? And then if we'd beaten them, it takes it back to 7, and if we win our game in hand, it goes to 4, with one more Old Firm to go. And yet you've got a manager that's all but surrendered the league title months before. I think he struggled to handle it as well, that pressure, that intensity, that pressure, and it's not going to go anywhere. I think that there's a corner being turned in his own approach as well in recent press conferences, I think much to do with the support that he's been getting. But I thought that the whole team were rattled, and I thought that he was rattled, and it showed. And it might sound harsh, but I think that's the truth.
Yeah, I think there's been some sort of stuff kicking about on social media about it. He has been far too honest, hasn't he? I think he comes out, so there's, at times he's been far too honest, so you have the real rage that comes through that is almost as if he's a player, frustrated at his teammates letting him down, and he just vents, puts in front of the camera and then he just vents. But he's also so honest and stuff that, like, people don't need to know. Yeah. If you look down the years and guys like, say like an Alex Ferguson after a defeat, and his team have clearly been awful, completely outplayed, and he'll point to a not even very dubious refereeing decision, accept a couple of grand fine, not talk about any of his players, take them in, give them a roasting, but a private roasting, and get on with it. At Jose Mourinho, man barely answers a question that's ever been put to him in his life. He just dictates what he says. He's not like, Stephen, how did you feel about that performance? And then he just launches into what he actually feels. I think he's got to be more savvy around that stuff. I think his experience, though, this is it. You know what I mean? His experience as a manager, and then it's a very high pressure job. And it's not just like, it's like managing a big team. It's like managing Rangers, given the context and the history of everything that's happened. It's like a very unique job. Not in a good way, but also in not in a bad way, but just in the context of everything that's happened. And he has to learn a way to manage things coming out of the club better. I think the Morelos thing, he was right not to play him, but I don't think he had to tell the press. I think he could have just said it was a family issue in Colombia, because technically he'd went back to visit his mum. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, you know what I mean? We are behind Gerrard as a support, and for the most part, this team, but the Rangers support are very close, I think, to flipping here. And when they do,
I don't think it's going to be really hard to get them back, but they're very close to flipping on everybody, and I think that these players, I don't doubt the commitment of the management staff and that, but these players on the park need to show the same level of commitment to the cause that the supporters are showing. Otherwise, it'll be curtains.